Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Escape Pod. Thank you for escaping with us. That's Andrew. I'm Alex.
And as always, with great power comes great Spider-Verse ability, baby.
That is correct.
Oh, yes. It's going to be a Spider-Verse episode, ladies and gentlemen.
Almost exclusively.
Yeah, we'll do like one segment that's not, but other than that, we're going to be talking about this movie.
Which, I mean, if you've seen it, you can't blame us. And
Exactly.
if you haven't seen it, what's
wrong with you? Exactly.
Just go see it.
So here's the plan. We're going to do our non-spoiler review first, as per usual. We're going to keep it slightly profesh. And then we're going...
What we're best at.
Well, not always. And then we'll do like a hot seat, just kind of break it up, do something else. And then after that, the rest of the episode will just be all the spoilers.
All of it.
So let's go with non-spoiler review first. You want to do our countdown?
Yes.
And rank it?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Ready? Out of 10. 3, 2, 1, 9.5. You did this last time. You have to say a number.
All right, we'll go again.
3, 2, 1, 9.5.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
This is a new experience for me. I don't like being wrong.
Yeah, but you do it all the time.
But I was absolutely, completely wrong, and I owe the creators of this film and everybody involved an apology.
Because you said...
A week ago, I said, let's cool the jets.
Pump the brakes. Yeah.
On the hype and saying that it's better than the first one. I should have seen the film.
Are you going on record right now to saying it's better?
I'm going on record right now and saying it's clearly better than the first film. I think it's clearly the best animated movie of all time.
Okay.
I think look, it's absolutely recency bias with the way I'm talking right now, but I think this could be my favorite movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
Better than Empires.
Yes.
Better than War for the Planet of the Apes.
Better than New Hope. Better than Parasite. Better than Social Network. Potentially. I'm not going to say that because...
You got to give it some time.
I've seen it twice in the last 3 days, and that's it. You know?
So as far as reviewing goes, I think we are
but I want
particularly prepped to do so. I've seen it 3 times. You've seen it twice.
Yes. There's very rare for me to be like, I'm really ready to talk about this movie.
Yep.
Something that I want to say out the bat is I don't really throw around 10 out of 10s. Mm-hmm. This is my 9th 10 out of 10 movie I've ever given.
Into the Spider-Verse was one?
Yeah. So it's like Empire, New Hope, War for the Planet of the Apes, Parasite, Citizen Kane, Social Network. There's a couple in there. Dark Knight, Into the Spider-Verse, obviously. Across the Spider-Verse has joined that conversation.
Dude, if they go 3 for 3, it'd be crazy. So what I want to say is... Yeah, so I give it a 9.5. We'll talk about that later. It's obviously unbelievably good. I've seen it 3 times, and we might go see it again.
I want to see it tonight. I know you don't, but
I might.
But if you do, I would love.
Here's the thing. Here's one thing I want to say about this movie because I've seen it a few times, and something that popped in my head was, it is. You could look at the last especially of the year, but maybe of the last few years, it is like the best movie in every genre of movie, right? It's the best drama. The relationships, the emotions in this movie, amazing. It's the best comedy. I laughed in this movie. Like, that's not even the point of this movie, is to be a comedy, but it is. Every other line is just like, that was so clever. It's the best action movie. I know it's animated, but the action in this movie.
It's the best superhero action I've ever seen in my life.
Exactly. So it just checks like I was thinking through like all the different kinds of movies. I was like, it's the best in all of them.
Yep.
Yeah. So very, very good.
I was thoroughly blown away. So the thing we're really trying to say here is, go see this movie.
Go see the movie,
please.
And if you go see it enough,
you're ripping this out right now.
Should we?
It's up to you.
I've got an announcement.
You're the boss.
Obviously, Spider-Man has been a big part of my life, and my friends have always called me Spider-Man. This is for a variety of reasons. My first name is Andrew Garfield. My last name is Parker, Peter Parker. My dad wanted to name me Peter. My mom wouldn't let him. She sucks. I'm just kidding. I've been bitten by a spider. I used to do acrobatics all the time. I did tumbling, gymnastics, that kind of stuff. And people say I look like Andrew Garfield and Peter Parker and all that all the time. I get those comments all the time. So all of that combines into...
Not to mention your only article of clothing is that jacket.
This right here, yes. And so it's just been a thing my entire life. And I've always thought about how interesting would it be if I legally changed my name to Peter Parker. This potentially being the best Spider-Man movie ever. And
not potentially. Continue.
And the conclusion of this trilogy coming out next year, I can't really think of a better time to do it. Now, what's going to make that decision of, will I change my name to Peter Parker? We discussed if this movie makes $1 billion. Because we believe it obviously deserves it. Now, that's probably not going to happen. So I came up with 2 others. Okay. And you can tell me if any of these 3 things happen, I will legally change my name to Peter Parker.
Okay.
Number 1, Across the Spider-Verse makes $1 billion.
Yeah.
Number 2, we somehow get the Escape Pod podcast to 1 million subscribers by next year.
Okay.
Number 3, somehow, some way, we are involved in the next movie in whatever way, that whether we're in it somehow, whether we are invited to the premiere, whether we are helping with the advertising, I don't know. But we get contacted by the Spider-Verse franchise, or Sony, and we are somehow involved. If any of those 3 things happen, I will literally be Andrew Todd, Peter Parker.
I think you should just drop the Andrew and just be Peter Parker.
Maybe. If all 3 things happen, maybe.
That's it. Just get this movie to $1 billion. Yeah. I want this movie to make $1 trillion. This is such a great movie. Go see it.
Okay. Non-spoiler review over.
Is that what all? I had so much more to talk about.
Oh, well, you said it like you were done and wrapping it up with a bow.
No. Keep going. I just want to bring up some stuff about this movie that I just wanted to talk about. Okay?
Sure, yeah.
So earlier you said, can you imagine if they go 3 for 3?
Right.
I just wanted to talk about, we may be in real time watching the best trilogy of all time. Obviously, I gave the first 2 movies a 10 out of 10. The only trilogy I've ever done that with is the original Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
I think New Hope and Empire, 10 out of 10. But Return of the Jedi just absolutely falls off a cliff. I think it's like a 6 out of 10. So, like, that's not even my favorite trilogy of all time, even though I think the first 2 are 10 out of 10. Like, if this next movie is like a 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 10, this is going to be the best trilogy of all time for me personally.
No, yeah.
Now, like, everybody bullied us because we didn't have Lord of the Rings in our final in our trilogy bracket, the Straw Hat episode.
Yeah.
So I decided to watch Lord of the Rings the other day. I watched Fellowship. Yep. I haven't gotten around to the other 2. It was aggressively fine. I give it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
I don't. It was 3 hours. It was so long. It was fine. I don't.
Hey, you had to be there. Okay.
I guess
you're late to the game.
I don't know. Super whatever. Something I wanted to talk about is Lord and Miller are 2 of the producers for this film. They're both writers on this film. Mm-hmm. Only one of them was a writer on the last film. Here are their projects in recent memory. Here are some of the things they've done. Spider-Verse 1, obviously Spider-Verse 2, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Oh.
21 and 22 Jump Street.
Did they do the second Cloudy with Chance?
I don't know. I just have the first
I'm going to knock them down a peg if they did the second one.
Okay.
But the first one, very impressive.
I'll ask. They did the Lego movie.
Very impressive.
They directed that. They also produced the Lego Batman movie. You love.
Good for them.
Yeah. Obviously, they were producers on one of our favorite films of the year, Cocaine
Bear.
And I just want to bring up that they were fired from Solo. So, those of you that do not like Disney Star Wars and like to hate on Kathleen Kennedy and Disney and this person and that person, there's more ammo for you. Because these guys are making some of the greatest movies of all time. And you fired them. so
seems about right.
Yeah.
Seems about right.
Something I wanted to bring up. And then finally, I don't know like if this movie reminded you of anything. We'll get into it a little bit more in spoilers. This movie sitting in the theater the second time reminded me a lot of Infinity War. it felt like not a culmination of 20 movies in the same franchise the way Infinity War was, but it felt like the culmination of every Spider-Man franchise.
Yeah.
And like...
So, yes. And again, we're going to have to talk about that a little bit more in spoilers.
Yes, exactly.
There is a difference between this and Infinity War that I will also talk about. But I definitely see what you're saying. With the culmination, like you get
and
so
it's
much...
hilarious, but it's like so dark and sad, and I really...
And then maybe the next one will be Endgame. It'll be that epic.
I would love that. Just not that long. And then the final thing I wanted to say is, this movie uniquely, I feel like, impacted me. Again, we'll go into this more in spoilers, but there was just so many things that happened in this movie that like meant a lot to me personally. That I maybe I'm unique. Maybe everybody won't love this movie as much as I do, but part of the reason I gave that score and part of the reason I love this movie so much is because it hit just emotionally for me so many things in my life. And look, we're biased. Everything that's tied to you is Spider-Man. You've got the jacket. You've got this. You got that. You dress up like Spider-Man, everything. Look at the podcast. Look at our logo. Look at the mugs. Look at, like, everything is, everything here is Spider-Man. So maybe we'll like it more than everybody else. But I feel that this movie is for everyone. Like I said, uniquely impacted me, and we're super biased and everything like that. So maybe it won't be a 10 out of 10 for you, but this movie's for everyone. Star Wars fans are going to love this movie. Harry Potter and Disney adults are going to love this movie. Obviously, Spider-Man and Marvel fans are going to love this movie, but DC fans are going to love this movie. Snyder fans are going to love this movie. Everybody is going to love this movie. Go f***ing see it.
Yep.
And that's what I wanted to end on.
Yep. We'll go to Hot Seat. Clink Me.
Great movie.
Great movie. Follow us on everything. We've been posting about, like, we saw this movie early. We posted about that.
Shout out IMAX.
Shout out IMAX, CT and Co. Appreciate y'all. So follow us on Instagram. Join the Discord. Join the Patreon. We'll be doing extra Spider-Verse related things over there.
Yep.
So thanks to the patrons. Thanks to everyone who follows us over there. Let's jump into Hot Seat. Do you have questions? You want me to go? You want to go?
You want to start?
Yeah, let's go. Okay. I don't have a ton, so let's just do like a quick 2-3 minute. 3 minutes?
Yeah, I'll do 3 minutes.
Let's do it.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Shit, I opened the calculator app.
It happens to the best of us.
3, 2, 1.
Are you going to see it again?
Yeah.
When?
Maybe tonight.
Maybe tonight.
Yeah.
How upset would you have been if I came out of it and was like, nah?
There was somebody in our DMs that was like, I really didn't like it. And I was DMing with them, and it like really broke my heart. Like I was having trouble responding to them. It ended up being a bit, but
good.
But I was really having trouble responding. It just broke my heart. Yeah.
I think part of you would be like really excited because you'd be like, oh, this is gonna do really well on TikTok.
Because you don't like it. Yeah.
But like deep down, you would have been hurt because.
Yeah, I just don't. I'm glad. I'm ready to argue with you as to what's your problem with this movie, though. Like it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. You get to hang out with one Miami Heat player.
Jimmy.
Come on. Jimmy Buckets.
Yeah, he's got his own coffee company. I want to have some of the coffee. It's very expensive.
You don't even drink coffee.
I know, but I want to try it.
You'd drink it for Jimmy.
For Jimmy.
If you could make me like or dislike any movie, what would it be?
Oh, Deathly Hallows Part 2 is such an easy answer.
Yeah.
But like you have this love for some of these terrible movies like Lego Batman and Shang-Chi and like
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Amazing Spider-Man 2, I like moments. Like I like shit in Amazing Spider-Man 2. I don't mind that you defend that movie, but the way you defend some of these movies acting like they're good movies is crazy.
You wouldn't make me like Cars 2? That's a good one.
That's it. Yeah.
Has anyone said you look like the surgeon guy?
Yes. Yeah, I've gotten that recently a couple times, but not too much.
There was a drawing of him that I saw on TikTok, and I swiped over, and I was like, whoa, it's Alex.
That's really funny.
What's What's going to be the best movie that has not come out yet this year?
Flash is getting rave reviews. You've seen it, and you seem to be lower on it than everybody else in the world, which is really interesting.
We'll see.
So I can't wait for me to see it. We're seeing it this week.
We're seeing it early.
So we'll do the review, and I'll see what's your beef with it and everything like that. But God, are we spoiled with movies this year? It's hard. I mean, Oppenheimer's going to probably be amazing. Barbie's probably going to be amazing.
Do you think Oppenheimer, right now, on record, Oppenheimer better than Flash?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know. That's a very good question. I thought you were going to say Spider-Verse because nothing's going to be Spider-Verse.
Over under percentage chance, Oppenheimer's better.
Than Spider-Verse?
No.
Oh.
Flash.
Oh,
obviously, Spider-Verse is going to be better.
Probably 60%.
You think it has a chance?
Yeah.
Okay. Last one. If you could go to a different universe.
Okay.
Where like one slight thing is different.
Oh, this is such a good question.
What universe would you choose?
Very easy for me. I want to choose a universe where everybody...
Where Rachel has to wear glasses all the time.
Jesus Christ. I want to choose a universe that universally everybody dislikes Shang-Chi and everybody likes Eternals. Not loves it, but thinks it's like a...
in that case, I would choose a universe in which Cars 2 just didn't even exist.
I would like to choose a universe where we got a sequel to Cars 2. Where Cars 3 is just Cars 2 continued. That's the universe I'd like to choose. Where Finn McMissile gets a spin-off. Make Cars 2 the highest... That's what it is. Cars 2 the highest grossing movie of all time. So we've got like a whole...
You're explaining my nightmare.
Essentially, the Cars 2 franchise just would become Fast and Furious. And we'd have like 10 of them. And they're just spy cars. And it it used to be about racing. Not anymore. We're just like bombing people. And
now we're going to space and stopping nuclear bombs.
Yeah, definitely a space car would be in the mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That was a good question.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right, you ready?
How are we?
That's a good question. Yeah, we're going. How are we?
I hit the table. The nice table that is exactly like the other one.
I changed it. You dumbass.
I can't believe you
I changed it out. I didn't like the other table.
This one's all dirty because it's been outside.
It was outside. I did try and wash it off. I didn't do a very good job. All right, you ready?
All right, let's go, surgeon guy.
When are you going to get married? I want your prediction. You can give me an estimate.
By the time I'm 30. Within the next 5 years.
Okay. Yeah, because you're 5 years away from 30 because you're old as hell.
Yeah.
Okay. If you recently said to me that you don't care about your hair.
Yeah.
If I came up with a hairstyle for you that wouldn't require you to do some kind of work, that you would get that hairstyle. Can I introduce to the patrons something where they can vote on your next hairstyle? And as long as it doesn't require gel, you will do it?
If I approve all of the options.
You will approve all of the options?
Sure.
Okay, great. We're going to put a penis on his head.
See, that would not be approved.
We would do it slyly.
That's a great example of something that would not be in the approved category.
Okay,
right.
We'll do it slyly. All right. If you were a horse...
Yes.
Would you want to be Spider Horse, the one that we see in the trailers of Spider-Verse, or would you rather be a normal horse, but you are the best racing horse of all time? So you're not exactly Spider-Man because you're Spider Horse, so there are major limitations. No limitations with you're the fastest horse of all time. Your literal life is just going to be race and fuck for the rest of your life.
I'm getting as close to Spider-Man as possible, even in horse form.
I respect it. Yeah. I do.
Yeah.
Okay. If you were a professional NBA player.
Yeah. I could see that.
I could too. If you were a little bit taller, you've got literally the best shot.
And didn't weigh the amount of like a feather.
You would bulk up if you were bigger. You wouldn't look like me if you were bigger. I would hope not. But you know.
You never know.
If you were in the NBA.
Yeah.
How cocky would you be?
Depends on how good I am.
You're good. You're solid. You're
I don't like. I don't do that. I love the Kobe style of just like I'm just gonna go destroy you, and I'm not talking trash and
Good for you.
Like when I used to play, that's kind of how I was. I was just like I'm just gonna go
get it done.
Yeah.
If you were asked to put together a team of people on social media, you're starting 5 for basketball. And it's going to be that team versus any other team constructed from social media people. You have to know the people personally.
Oh, okay, great. This is great because I work with Josh Horton, who knows a lot of basketball people. So I'm taking Mamadou.
Okay.
He's 7'6".
Wow.
He's a giant. He can dunk without jumping.
Wow.
We filmed with him a few times.
Yeah.
So Mamadou at center for sure.
Yep.
I'm going to take Evan, who's a friend of mine who films and does some basketball stuff. He's a good shooter. He's a little smaller, but he's quick, and he's shorter than me, but I think he can dunk. Like he's got some hops on him.
Wow.
I'm gonna take Chris Staples, world's best dunker. So that's 3. I'm gonna take myself for shooting guard.
Yep.
And then I'll go Jenna Bandy.
Wow.
Yeah, she's one of the best shooters.
Period. You're putting a period on that.
I mean, on social media.
That's impressive.
And these are all people that I had to know all of them. So
yeah. All right. Last question.
Uh-oh. Penis or butthole?
No. This is actually a super serious question.
Oh shoot.
How high do you think your emotional intelligence is?
Out of like 10?
Yeah.
9.
Okay.
What about you?
I would completely disagree with you. I think your emotional intelligence is that of a toddler. I think you are the reason for all of your lack of success in the dating world.
It depends on what you mean by emotional intelligence. I think I'm emotionally intelligent enough to know what I want and to be able to treat people the way I know they should be treated, and that creates certain problems, but it's not because I'm not emotionally intelligent. It might be the opposite.
Okay. All right, real last question. Penis or butthole?
Frick you.
All right, there you go. There's hot seat.
There's hot seat.
Yeah.
Now we get to go back to talk about this epic movie.
Meanwhile, in an alternate universe.
Shang-Chi's a bad movie.
Other than No Way Home, Shang-Chi is the best movie in Phase 4.
Eternals is better.
What's your favorite film of all time? Mine's The Avengers, followed by The Greatest Showman.
What's the villain from Up's name?
Wait, no, I'm gonna get this. I'm not... Charles, Explorer, Charles Muntz! Son of balls! Charles Muntz! Holy crap!
I do not think Gal Gadot is hot. She is above me. Who famously did the soundtrack for Black Panther?
The Weeknd?
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Post Malone?
Post Malone? What? He's white!
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I think it's time to rip the Band-Aid off. The Spider-Verse. Spoiler time. If you haven't seen the movie, frick you. Go away. Hey.
Just go see the movie.
Go see the movie. Here we go.
You'll enjoy it, I promise.
Done with hot seat.
Yeah, so if you have not seen the movie, this is your last warning, okay? 3,
Hold on.
2, what?
We might do a Spider-Man list of our favorite Spider-Man movies. We've been asked to do this.
Yes.
We're not going to do it on this episode, though. We might do it on the Patreon.
Yes.
We're either going to do it later or on the Patreon. Have we decided?
I thought Patreon.
We're going to do Patreon. Yeah. So go check out the Patreon. We're going to list all of our favorite Spider-Man movies in order.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler time.
I did Star Wars last week.
Right.
All right.
Here we go.
All right. From now on, we're doing spoilers, okay? 3, 2, 1. I can't believe they killed Miles, especially in the first 15 minutes. That was wild.
I really didn't see it coming.
No, I couldn't believe that they made the Spot the main protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
That shocked me. And then, just kidding. Now it's spoiler time.
All right.
I don't understand your problems. Let's start with that.
No.
What's the point
Nope.
5?
Nope. We're going to go through all of our pros, all of the good. We can talk about that at the end. What's our first good?
You want to start in order of the movie?
Yeah, let's kind of go through it.
The
Opening.
The opening happens, and I was telling you, I mean, some of the shots in that movie are like literally like ripped straight from Gwen Stacy comics.
Speaking of,
Yeah.
this movie inspired me.
Okay.
I've seen it 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
After the 3rd time, I came home, and there's this wonderful thing called Google.
Yeah.
I put into Google Gwen Stacy comics.
Oh yeah.
I got up early this morning before filming the pod.
Okay.
It's funny you say that. I have some reading to do.
I haven't read that one.
The amazing thing is what you just said. This is so cool. This is the one I found online, and then I found it in a store near us. Look at the first page. It's her playing the drums in a setting almost exactly like
Yeah.
the opening of the movie. And then look.
Yeah.
It's the exact same things. They don't know what to do with their song. Gwen says, hold up, starts playing the drums by herself, and then has the flashbacks of everything that happened that they show at the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
How cool is that? I looked up like the best Gwen Stacy comics, and then I found this one online and read the first 2 pages, and I was like, no way did I find this one that is the exact same as the beginning of the movie. So
Where'd you get it?
I found a comic book store that's 8 minutes from us. It's very cool.
Awesome.
They have a lot of stuff.
And they had that?
This was like the one I wanted, and she was just like, oh, we have this if you want it. I was like, that's what I'm looking for. Give it to me right now. So
That's great. How funny.
that's
is
how good this
that?
movie is that I went and bought
I'm
a graphic
glad you're
novel.
getting into comics. Please.
Oh! Look how cool that is.
Yeah, like the animation style, it was like straight out of
Freaking
her
sick.
comics. It was amazing. So
Anyways.
the movie opens. She's playing the drums, and okay, there you go. I'm glad you didn't knock anything down.
Well, I'm pretty good at putting stuff back.
The movie starts, and she's playing the drums,
Yep.
and she's just going to town on these drums.
Yep.
And her narration, oh my gosh, and he's not alone, and I heard him, and he's not alone.
He wasn't the only one.
Yeah, he wasn't the other. I'm freaking the out. Like when that was happening, I turned to you. This was the second time you had seen it. The first time I saw it, I turned to you and you literally went, mm-hmm. I was like, oh my.
Within like the first 3 minutes of the movie, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is great.
No, it's,
And that leads into I really like that whole she's still narrating and it's following her walking out of the gym, and she pushes the door open and she's on the street, and then she passes by someone and she's in the Gwen thing. And I didn't notice this until my third watch. Obviously they're doing stuff in the windows around her that are things from her past. There's one time where she's there's a thing of Miles in the window that I did not know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it opens and she's in something else, and
no, because it's she's wearing a mask at
Yep.
all times.
Yep.
Is what that is. It's
so good.
It's just brilliant. It was. And the song, it's a song by Coil Ray, produced by Metro Boomin. Shout out Metro for the soundtrack. The soundtrack is
Great.
spectacular. Yeah, really, really, really impressed me.
And that leads into obviously the animation and the drum sequence, and then everything in Gwen's world is animated so cool. Haley was talking about this in a interview where she was they were
Haley Steinfeld, the
Right.
actress for Gwen.
Speaking of,
Yeah, nice work.
your boy just maybe happened to talk to her. Best 8 seconds of my life. But she was talking about how the directors or whatever were coming to her and explaining to her how the animation in Gwen's universe, the colors were going to reflect the emotions in the scenes that were happening, and It's just so cool when she first has that conversation with her dad in the apartment, and then when she has it again with him later when he's trying to arrest her.
The colors are always changing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's amazing. It's just brilliant. I will say, she's got Converse for most of this movie, but at the start of this movie, she has the ballet shoes. I much prefer the ballet shoes.
Yeah, that was really cool. I noticed that.
Like I much prefer the ballet shoes. I think it's a really cool touch because a lot in the comics she's a dancer and this and that. They don't really go over that in these movies, but yeah. So the whole Gwen sequence is phenomenal. The Guggenheim sequence is phenomenal. The Renaissance Vulture,
so cool. So cool.
So cool. What a great idea.
And it's just that whole sequence, like where they're working together and the music, and she's like dodging the helicopter and like saving.
Amazing.
Epic
and
action.
She slows down for a minute. She's playing the drums in her head, and then she goes.
Yeah. Yeah, when I saw it the third time and the drums start happening, I was like looking over like Peter and Zach, like, yeah, it's epic, isn't it?
Amazing.
So good.
Amazing. The whole sequence
and we got to see a Q&A with one of the directors, and he was telling us so much cool stuff. But he mentioned how like the film has been worked on for 4 years, and like it's been gone through so many different things, and they didn't like officially finish it till like the Friday before and everything. But he mentioned how like the Gwen cold open at one point was 5 minutes, at one point was 20 minutes, and this is eventually what they landed on.
And I think it's perfect.
It's perfect.
I mean, oh my gosh. And then we go into Miles' world.
Right.
And the pace keeps up.
Yep.
I was blown away. I was like, this is how we open the movie? Like, oh my gosh. And then it just keeps going. This movie does an unbelievable job of blowing my mind every 10 seconds. Look, everybody is going to talk about the animation.
Yep.
So I'm not.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's the best animated movie of all time. Animation-wise, no question. I don't think anybody's going to question that. The animation is unreal.
Yep.
Everything good?
Yep. I'm just triple checking.
Yeah. Yep, we're good. The animation just blew me frick away, so I'm not even going to talk about it. The movie's writing is so sharp the whole time. When we get to Miles and he does the reintroduction thing, and it's I endorsed a baby powder. I had to apologize for endorsing the baby powder. I grew a mustache. I had to apologize.
So funny.
So funny.
And then it goes the back and forth between the meeting with the parents and the fight with Spot, and how he's trying to text them as he's going through the holes, and the dad being hilarious. Oh, he said, in a minute, all one word. Youth.
It's so let me tell you, Rio Morales is the funniest part of this movie for me.
Yeah.
When I know we're getting a little ahead but when Gwen says Rio, she has a moment like 2 seconds after that's, we're using my first name. Okay, for the people that didn't get it, but when she goes Rio, like it cuts to Mrs. Morales. And you just see her go. It's so funny.
Oh, oh gosh, the parents, the way they handle the relationships in this movie is one of my favorite things. You feel for everyone involved. You feel for Miles, but you don't just feel for Miles. You feel for the parents because they are trying. It's not just Gwen's dad is the bad guy. Just Miles is the bad guy. Miles is doing all the right things. He's not, but it's also hard on him. It's just like, and you can tell they do such a good job of making it abundantly clear that these characters love each other and they're trying so hard, but it's just a difficult situation, and that makes you just like, just like want to, just hug them or something. It's so good. Like Mr. Davis, like every time after a thing with Miles, he's like, yeah, that was good. He's like, and when he's talking to Miles as Spider-Man, and he's like really trying to understand and like talk it out, and maybe we should get off the kids.
Yeah.
is so funny, but it's that's one of my favorite parts is just the way they handle those relationships.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just unfreaking believable. We're going to start just skipping ahead. We don't need to do this movie in order, everything like that. The Spot?
Yep.
Can you freaking believe it?
That they'd use the Spot that way?
That you use the Spot, who is a joke character. He is the polka dot man, the egghead of the Spider-Man Rogues Gallery. He is the one that's a joke. Oh, he's got holes. You're gonna punch each other, whatever.
He kicked his own butt.
Yeah, like he's always a complete joke.
Yeah, he was hilarious, especially in the first half.
Well, when the bread is coming out of his stomach was freaking hilarious.
But by the end, you're like, oh, he could kill everyone. It's scary.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's
amazing, and like how tragic they made his backstory.
Yeah,
it's like genuinely sad, and it's hilarious that it's a bagel guy. But,
yes, so good.
But like, it's so sad. It's like I made you awesome, and you made me horrific.
You made me not have a face.
Amazing. That's like so compelling. I was so impressed.
Can you stop talking about your holes? You're making everyone uncomfortable.
Oh, sorry. Amazing.
Yeah.
The spider. We'll just get into it now. The spider people are unfreaking believable.
The first new one we really see is when they go the Indian Spider-Man, who,
by the way, Dopinder from Deadpool.
Yeah.
Gives a great vocal performance.
Yeah. They're just all, well, I mean, I'm sorry. We get Spider-Man 2099 and Spider-Woman like right at the start with Gwen's cold open. But we visit his universe and another character that's just like completely different, has a completely different costume, has a completely different set of skills with his little wristband.
Which I love. That's his web.
And you immediately like him.
Yep.
He's funny. I wake up. Don't work out because I'm naturally buff. Like,
but I don't want to get too big.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Chai tea?
Did I tell you that I want a coffee with a side of cream?
Yeah, and then so that's a good one. And then obviously they go to Spider headquarters. Oh, well, first off, while we're in that universe, another unbelievable action scene of them saving everyone while a building is... Dude, when he... Sorry.
No, please.
One of my favorite things in any fight scenes is when the people are so good at it that it's smooth. Kung Fu Panda does a great job of this. When all the like Furious 5 are fighting, like it's all seamless and it just looks so cool. They do this with Spider-Man because Spider-Man is a superhero that should be able to do this. They're like running through buildings and like all at the same time flipping people and catching people while dodging rubble. And it's just like and they do that with the Gwen Open where they're following 2099 and Gwen and she's... Oh, so there's one moment where he jumps through a window, flips like 3 people, catches them, dodges rubble, jumps out of a window, and then it's in midair. His spider sense goes off. He throws the people in the air, twists in midair, punches the rubble, and then
catches them.
And the other Spider-Man, like they all work together.
Yep. I'm telling you, it's the best action in any superhero movie of all time. Yeah, it blew me away. It's unbelievable. And then we're forgetting Spider-Punk also gets introduced in
Hobie.
What is it? Mumbattan?
Maybe.
Gotcha.
We may or may not be doing trivia later, so I'm not going to answer that.
Mumbattan, I'm pretty sure is what it is. But Spider-Punk was probably the highlight of the movie for me. Unfrickin' believable. As soon as he's introduced, like you get it and everything like that, his intro's hysterical.
Yep.
But like throughout the film, I was like, the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, this guy's a dickhead. But like, as you see, like, oh, this spider society, it's very corrupt and like kind of shitty and everything like that. It's like, you get him more and more and more. And he doesn't make a wrong decision in the movie. It's amazing.
The line, I didn't hear it the first time I saw it because the audio was weird in the first theater. But when I heard it the second and third time, when Mayday, her diaper, and he goes, "You took a crap on the establishment. I salute you."
Yeah.
So funny. Such a good line. So yeah, Then we go to the Spider
A
headquarters.
ton of his lines are hilarious, though.
Yeah.
He's so funny.
Yeah, he's just got like
And-
one-liners.
I said I wasn't going to talk about the art style, but the art style, it's best for him.
Yeah,
It's so cool.
he's the most different and like.
You know they
stands
did
out.
different thwips for everybody? Everybody's thwip has a different sound.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, Spider HQ. We get the let's talk about the cameos. Okay, so most everyone's favorite, the one that was most out of left field but most loved, was.
I would like to tell the story.
Go ahead.
We're watching this movie, and I could see Andrew sitting next to me because it was his second time seeing it and my first. I could see him sitting next to me, like looking at me when something big was going to happen because he wanted to see my reaction. But for most of it, it was kind of like just kind of a glance, like a side eye. But for right before the Donald Glover cameo as Prowler, I'm sitting next to him, he's sitting next to me, and he is just... And I was like, all right, something's going to happen. Yeah. And then Donald Glover pops up and he's like, yo. I was like, oh, shit. And he was like, yup. He was staring right at me. Yeah, that was pretty cool that they did that.
They did great with that. They had the old, was it the 1990 Spider-Man that was swinging, or is it even older?
The one that pulls his leg is
What
60s.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's
Yeah.
even older than that.
Yeah.
And then they have the Spectacular Spider-Man. Then they obviously have Andrew and Toby in there for a second, which I love.
Tom.
No Tom. I thought I missed it the first time I saw it, but no, he's just not in there, which is
Nowhere to be
interesting.
found.
So, yeah, cameos were great. Miles beating all of the Spider-Men was great.
Unbelievable. Okay, now that we're here, I can talk about this.
Okay.
I have gone on record saying that Miles Morales is not a great character in the comics.
Yep.
And that everything in Spider-Verse that they do, a lot of the stuff that they do in Spider-Verse to make him interesting isn't stuff in the comics. I've gone like the most interesting thing about him in the comics is why his last name is Morales, is because the Davis family, they have some like a troubled past with the law, and they didn't want their son to deal with that. That's really interesting. But that's by far the most interesting thing about him in the comics. How brilliant to make him the first anomaly.
Right?
That is the most brilliant thing you've ever done with a character, to change his origin from the comics ever. There is nothing that you could do that makes him more interesting. And the fact that the spider glitches in the first movie and all the hints in the first movie makes me think that all this was planned out from the start, which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, they had a lot of references back to the first one. And it's cool that they made him an anomaly, because this is obviously clear, because the entire time they're walking through Spider-Verse HQ, there's no other Miles. She's talking to 5,000 different Peters. So many Peters are saying hi to Gwen and everything, but you never once see someone as another Miles, because he's not supposed to be Spider-Man, apparently.
Which,
according to Miguel.
there should be another Miles, because like 616 has a Miles. They accurately call the MCU 1999999, which
Right.
I loved.
1999.
And then in the Insomniac Spider-Man's in this movie.
Yep.
And there's obviously a Miles in that universe.
Mm-hmm.
So there should be a Miles.
Yeah.
Also,
Maybe him being the first anomaly created other Miles.
maybe.
Yeah, we'll explain it that way.
I don't care.
Yeah.
It's the most brilliant thing you've done with a character I've ever seen, ever. Like a character that's well established, that's popular, and you change their origin completely. This is my point. That is a huge change to Miles' origin. Nobody's going to be bothered by it. That's how I know he's a bad character in the comics. You know what I'm saying? Like if they were to do this in the MCU, even if it was something brilliant as that, people would be like, that's not his origin in the comics. It doesn't matter if they make Magneto the best Magneto we've ever seen in the MCU. If he's not a Holocaust survivor, people are going to be furious.
Right. Because that's interesting.
Because it's a good origin.
Yeah.
So that's like my thing is.
Yeah. Any other pros? I mean,
I could be here all day. Yeah. I mean, I want to go over this before we get into cons because this is going to be everybody else's con. Those of you that didn't know it was a cliffhanger ending, I'm so sorry. Mm-hmm. You're getting it in March. We're waiting 9 months?
Yeah, it's not that long.
We're fine. We had to wait a year for Endgame. We had to wait 2 years from the end of Force Awakens to Last Jedi. So, we've done this before.
Yeah.
We will stand strong. It's fine. If this movie had all the shit it had to make it as good as it is, it wouldn't be able to be as good as it is if it had also a conclusion. So I'm sorry for those of you that didn't know it was a cliffhanger going into it. They announced this in 2021, I want to say.
Yes, but they did not advertise it as such.
I thought they did.
No, they announced it 2 years ago and then removed it from all marketing ever. It was very clear that they were trying to surprise people that it was going to be a cliffhanger ending.
Maybe. I could have sworn I wrote this down somewhere.
You did. It's December 2020. It's right there. I know your notes better than you.
Terrible. So I just, I'm sorry, but we're fine. It's coming out of March. It's not going to be another 5-year gap like the last one. All right. I mean, I could talk about this movie all day. Let's just...
Here's the thing.
Are you talking about your negatives?
Yeah. Negative.
Before you get into it?
Not plural.
I obviously don't have any negatives. Can I get into some things I wish they did?
Sure.
Every single J. Jonah Jameson is J.K. Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, obviously. It's my favorite casting in comic book history. I wish we had an Ice Cube.
Why?
Lord and Miller are good friends with Ice Cube, everything like that. Ice Cube was going to be TASM's J. Jonah Jameson. There's concept art for it. There's some fan art for it. It's awesome. It looked awesome. He's only emailing him in TASM 2, but I would have loved to just have one universe have Ice Cube.
Right.
I always wanted to see that because I think Ice Cube could play a very good J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
So I wish just one universe had an Ice Cube.
Interesting.
Something else I wish. I loved the Lego universe. I loved it so much. I would have loved to have seen the Lego universe interact with the animated universe. Mm-hmm. We do see him pull up the thing, and that animation style is different, but I would have loved to have seen him come into the universe and go, thwip, and him say it and stuff like that, just like how they do it in Lego. I would have loved to see that as well.
Yeah.
Those are just two things that, not problems for me, just would have liked to have seen it.
Yeah, and that... Speaking of the Lego scene, the director said a couple other interesting things. One of which was a 14-year-old recreated.
Did the stop motion.
He recreated a trailer as Legos in stop motion, and they saw it, and then he basically did that scene for the movie.
He did the stop motion.
There was something
awesome.
There's something else that he said that I wanted to bring up. Like Spider T-Rex was almost not in the.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Yep.
But yeah. So obviously, Across the Spider-Verse is wonderful and amazing. And I think anyone struggles to come up with a negative. Now, you've already brought it up, and we've already seen people in our comments saying that the main negative, people don't like the ending. Now, this, obviously everyone's trying to compare it to the first. Which one's better? You obviously think Across is better. I struggle to do that, and I would probably still put Into the Spider-Verse as better for this one reason, which is the ending. Not because the ending is bad or that I'm upset that I have to wait 9 months. I think they did it. I think Across the Spider-Verse might be the most important movie of the three, given that it sets up the third one so well. It enriches these characters so much more, and it's so good, and the action is so good, and everything is so good about it. And it makes the third one that much more epic because they did so well with this one. So in terms of importance, I think this movie might be the most important one. But I liked it a lot more the second time because I knew there was a cliffhanger ending. The first time I saw it, I was very confused.
Yes.
The reason I might like Into the Spider-Verse better, personally, is because in a movie, it is nice to have a conclusion. Now, I'm not saying that they needed a conclusion for everything in this movie because, again, you compared it to Infinity War earlier. But in Infinity War, there is still a conclusion. Thanos wins. The entire thing, he wins, and then we have to come up with a new plan and come back and beat that. It's still a cliffhanger, but in this...
And her cliffhanger is finally Gwen's arc. Her whole thing, the whole movie, is she is incapable of making attachments. She makes the attachment to Peter.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about.
No, you're wrong.
You can have...
This has a conclusion.
No, it doesn't. A character development, showing character development is not the conclusion.
The conclusion is, because Gwen is our main character. It's not Miles because we start with her. That's how filmmaking works.
You're not listening to me.
You're not listening to me. The conclusion of this movie is finally Gwen puts together a team. That's the conclusion.
That's not as much of a conclusion as the example I just gave, number one. Number two, I'm not saying this movie is bad or that the ending is bad. I am saying I'm not going to personally like it as much because we don't have an ending with the main villain. Like, why are you so upset?
Because that is a terrible reason to bump this movie half a point. That's like Deathly Hallows Part 2 level shit.
No, that you're not listening to anything I'm saying. Deathly Hallows has
Infinity
nothing
War
to...
does not have more of a conclusion than Spider-Verse 2.
Every conflict is set up to be, except the conclusion in terms of, if you're comparing it to like Infinity War conflict, right, with the heroes and villains, the only one that we get in this movie is Miles escaping Spider HQ, which is great. That was the conclusion. He beat them, he escaped. But then we have another 30 minutes or whatever, of which I think drags slightly. It doesn't drag as much as, now that I know that it's a cliffhanger ending. And I don't think, I could do anything to make it better. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad ending, but you get Gwen going and talking to the parents. You get Miles talking to his mom, the wrong mom. You get Miles getting beat, punched in the face and knocked out. Then you get him talking to Prowler again, or his uncle again. Then you get him talking to Prowler. And I had other friends who watched it with me who were like, I kept wondering, like, is it going to end now? Is it going to end now? Is it because there's all there's all these times where it could have ended. And so I'm saying, in terms of conflict, that Spider, him escaping, is like an actual conclusion. But everything else, they set it up. He did not fight himself. He did not fight the Spot. The team did not do anything. Like in the first one, they win, right? Now, in Infinity War, Thanos clearly wins and then goes out and sits on a farm. And that's a cliffhanger ending because, like, what are we going to do now? And again, I don't know any way that they could have necessarily done this better, but we have this Spot villain the entire time. And then there's 30 minutes at the end of this movie that it's long, that is not a superhero, like, win or lose thing. Does that make sense? That we get in Infinity War and we get Into the Spider-Verse and we get in all these movies. I'm not saying that is bad. I think it drags a little bit, but I'm not saying it's bad because I said, again, this movie is so unbelievably important and so unbelievably good, but for that reason, it might not be my personal favorite because in Beyond the Spider-Verse, they're going to come back, the team's going to get together, and then we're going to get to see them do some awesome stuff and win at the end. And just because I personally like an ending like that better than the way they did this one a little bit.
So I don't think that the ending drags. I obviously went into this knowing it was a cliffhanger ending.
Right.
I was on the edge of my seat because I didn't know where they were going to end it.
Right.
I didn't know what the loose ends were going to be, everything like that. Here's my thing. Here's why I'm arguing with you, and this is why I'm so mad at you. Name the loose ends from Spider-Verse that are not concluded.
Spot. Miguel. Miles being in the wrong universe. Everyone's relationship with everyone. What in the movie is not wrapped up other than Gwen's character?
Gwen's character arc, putting together the team. Now they're going to save Miles. They're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out, whatever. Here's my thing. There are a lot of loose ends that are not tied up in Infinity War. The start of the movie, Tony Stark. He wants to have a kid with Pepper. Are they going to be okay? Everything like that. Their relationship. not tied up. What? Why are you rolling your eyes at me?
You're continuing to talk about things that I am not talking about. I am talking about this is a superhero movie and the conflict. Nothing happened with the conflict. In Infinity War, yes, there are character loose ends, I guess.
There are plenty. I'm going to go through a ton. I'm going to go through a lot more than 4 that you named. But if you're saying that that's not your argument, then I'll drop it.
I mean, I'd still like to hear it. Go ahead.
No. Because if that's not your argument, if I'm... so what? You just want the villain to either win or lose? You need that in every superhero movie?
I don't not need that. And again, I think Infinity War is a fine example because, yeah, we lost and I was fine with that because it was so shocking and good. And again, I'm not saying this is a bad ending. I'm saying it's not a personal favorite because I'm going to personally enjoy seeing Miles beat Spot more than Miles being chained to a thing at the end of a movie. That's just what I'm going to enjoy more. I think it's a good cliffhanger ending. But that's the reason why it might not personally be my favorite over Into the Spider-Verse. Now, I don't know how they would have done it different. Like, again, I think having, like, either a side character or something that, like, we still win and beat, and then there's, like, this other thing that we have to do. Now, what that might have been in this movie is the Miguel thing. Like, that was a side thing that we did beat. But then again, that's what I'm saying. Like, after that, we still get a large portion of the movie that's, like, I think could have been a slightly quicker.
Yeah, I completely disagree.
That's fine.
I can't believe you like this one less than the first one. That shocks the shit out of me. But, okay, other than the conclusion, name one thing that the first one does better.
Nothing. Again.
So it's like, here it is, another little thing that is ruining a movie for you.
It's not ruin. You're trying to make it seem like I'm saying things that I'm not. I'm just saying, from a personal enjoyment standpoint, like, it's a toss-up for me. I like them both so much. I've been talking about how great this movie is for half an hour. But if I have to write down on paper I like something more than something else, I'm gonna try to come up with something, and the thing I'm gonna come up with is in Into the Spider-Verse, we get the leap of fate scene, we get Miles coming back, we get them beating all the bad guys, we get Miles dropping him off into all these people into the collider, and we get him beating Kingpin at the end, and that is awesome. And this movie does not have that moment. It has it a little bit, but not as much. So if someone's putting a gun to my head and making me choose, and I have to find some sort of reason, that will be my reason. But I'm not saying that it ruined the movie for me or that I think anything about the movie is necessarily bad. I'm just saying that is why it might have dropped 0.5 on my 10 scale and why, if I'm forced to, I might choose Into the Spider-Verse more. It's still one of the best comic book movies of all time.
Breaks my heart. I can't believe you didn't like this movie.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
I'm playing. I don't know. Yeah, I just completely fundamentally disagree with everything you just said. I don't know, but you like Empire's your favorite Star Wars movie. Empire is a terrible cliffhanger.
It's not about the cliffhanger.
Resolved.
It's not getting the cliffhanger.
Nothing.
But
he doesn't beat. Oh, so you're saying
Darth
Vader beats him?
Yeah, and then like everything that it's leading up to, where it's leading up to this epic scene with Darth Vader and Luke, and then Luke,
you do get that.
Luke loses, and you're like, what's going on now? But we get an answer to that conflict. In Infinity War, we get the answer to the conflict. In this,
because you understand the conflict wrongly. Because the conflict is not at its core. This is not just a punchy action superhero movie.
I'm not saying it is.
This is an emotional journey.
Which I said earlier.
Stacy,
which I said earlier is one of my favorite parts of the movie.
You have bought the comic for because she's so great in this movie. We open with Gwen. Mm-hmm. We open with her not being able to get close to anybody, and then obviously Peter dies. Peter dies. She doesn't want to get close to anybody. She doesn't want to get close to her dad. Then she lets him in a little bit, but then he catches her, and obviously they have that heartbreaking conversation where he's pointing the gun at her, starts reading her rights, everything like that. That's a terrible, traumatic scene for her. Then she leaves. As soon as she gets to Spider-Verse HQ, what does she learn? Captain from Spider-Man's world is going to die.
Yep.
She knows her dad's going to die, so she just doesn't see him ever again. Because she's not going to do it. And the only time she sees him again is to get the picture of Miles, and then obviously he argues with her, and that entices her to have the speech, which is a great speech. And he quits. And
halfway through your big speech.
yeah, what does that tell her? He's not going to die.
Which is a canon event, which leads into Beyond the Universe, I think.
And it breaks her so much, like it breaks her shell. Because this whole movie, she gets close to Miles because she's already gotten close to Miles, and she feels safe with Miles because she's Spider-Man. She knows that Spider-Mans don't die easily. That's what she's learning at Spider-Man HQ. So she feels like she can get close to Miles, even though he's the anomaly and everything like that, and that's why she doesn't go see him and everything.
Which is another hard thing she has to go through.
Very. And then after she sees him, everything gets fucked up more. Everything gets destroyed for her more. Because she went to go see him, because she opened herself up. So when she is not letting her father in again until he quits, it's her shell, her shield are up the most. And then he's like, I quit. And it breaks her shields. It's everything. She lets everybody in. And that's when she puts together the team. This is Gwen's story. Yeah. This isn't, even though Miles is our main protagonist. He's not. Our main protagonist in this movie is Gwen. Yeah. And her story does get wrapped up, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Oh my
gosh. The Prowler scene is so good at the end. Oh my gosh. I was just blown away.
That helps me like it a little bit more.
Huh?
That helps me like it a little bit more.
The Gwen?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it wraps up her story. That's what this movie is. It's not, this isn't a,
yeah, I know. And again,
compared to Infinity War. Mm-hmm. Let's think about the emotional beats in Infinity War.
Which this movie is better
than Infinity War.
Yeah.
I think clearly.
Yeah.
I don't think it's close.
Yeah. So even then, I'm saying the ending for Infinity War is better conflict-wise or whatever, but I still like this movie more.
Yeah. Like, the emotional beats of Infinity War, they all happen during battles.
Mm-hmm.
Because that movie is a movie about fights. There's just a lot of fights in Infinity War. So then the resolution is somebody wins a fight. Mm-hmm. This movie is an emotional movie.
Yeah.
That's all about relationships. And so the conflict, it doesn't end with a fight. It ends with a relationship.
Which I said at the start. The relationships in the movie, my favorite thing.
So good.
We've already been going an hour. I have trivia ready for you, but I might throw that to Patreon. But let's answer some Instagram questions. We put on our Instagram story, so make sure to go follow us. Just ask us anything Spider-Verse related, and we got some really good ones. So let's just go through, let's do this for another 5-10 minutes. And answer some Spider-Verse questions.
Do you think the other Miles turned into the Prowler in an anti-hero way? No. But that's fascinating.
I mean, they were clearly setting him up to be just bad.
That's fascinating.
Why is it so fascinating to you?
You don't think that's fascinating?
I think it's an interesting idea, but no, I think
no.
We need to talk about predictions for Beyond. What's going to happen?
Oh, shit, we do. If you have to choose one Spider-Man to voice act, who would it be? This is pretty easy for me. I want to be...
We have to voice act?
Yeah.
What do you got?
I want to be Spider-Horse.
It's good. I would just be a Peter.
What was
because I legally might be soon.
What was the fan theory about Spider-Verse that you're happy that it did not happen? Is that a you question? I have no idea what that's talking about.
I think it's just generally what of all the fan theories that were out there, what are you glad that didn't happen? I don't know any, so we can just skip it. Okay, hold up. We didn't talk about the upside down talkie scene with Miles and Gwen. Beautiful. Sorry. Keep going.
I mean, we didn't talk about the reveal at the end. Watching it the second time.
We didn't talk about him being invisible upside down this far away from Gwen.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love how they did the invisible animation here. Mm-hmm. It's so comic. at the end, seeing it the second time, where it's raining outside in Miles' universe. It's not raining outside in the not Spider-Man universe, Earth 42. It's not raining. Like, there's so many keys as to, like, that it's wrong. Everybody says, "What'd you do with your hair?"
Yeah.
Like,
when she walks in, Rio.
Mrs. Morales said, "What's wrong with your hair?" And I was like, oh, I guess it just got
messed up in the fight.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But it's like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
So good. What was better, Spider-Verse or Mario?
What kind of question?
No.
We're not even responding to that.
I mean, I think it'd be disrespectful to predict a movie will be better than this.
For this year?
Yep.
Yeah.
If Finn McMissile could be Spider-Man, what would he be named? I think they do very funny plays on their names always. Spider-Rex, Spider-Ham, everything like that. So I think he'd be Finn McSpider.
I like it.
Yeah. Hot take, Into the Spider-Verse suit is better than the Across the Spider-Verse suit. That's not a hot take. I think you're correct. I've seen a lot of hate for the Across the Spider-Verse suit. I think it's hilarious every time they make fun of him bleeding out of his armpits. The Spider-Verse 1 suit is better, but I really like this suit, and I think people are being a little mean.
Yeah. I don't think I have a favorite.
What was your favorite one-liner in the movie? I know yours.
You took a crap on the establishment. I salute you.
I really like all the parent stuff is really funny.
Another one. That's 3 months.
Yes.
That one was really good.
Those are all the parent stuff was making me pee my pants. Spanglish is probably it.
Yeah.
Spanglish. Oh my gosh. Could this possibly become one of the best trilogies of all time? Yes.
I mean, it's on track to be, yeah.
Out of all the Spider-Man, who was your favorite?
I mean, in this movie, Gwen probably. Peter was really funny. I liked how, like...
Peter B?
Yeah. He's so clearly established as a Spider-Man. Like, he's just walking around. Miguel's got no bite, you know? The way he's flipping around and dealing with Mayday and everything. And he was just like...
People so clearly, like, respect him.
Yeah.
Which is correct. He's kicking ass in Spider-Verse. He was by far the strongest Spider-Man in that movie.
Right. Yeah, so he was good.
So your favorite's Peter B. I loved
Gwen,
Punk.
but yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. Do you think there should be a universal repercussion for Gwen's father not being a captain anymore? That's so interesting.
Well, this goes.
I didn't think about that at all the 2 times I've seen it, and then you brought it up, and now this is the second time I'm seeing it. That's so interesting.
Because everything that's happening because of Miles is not supposed to happen, right? Like Peter getting back together with Mary Jane in that universe, maybe not supposed to happen. Him not being captain, maybe not supposed to happen. Him going back and saving his own father, not supposed to happen.
Obviously, the inspector living,
right?
Not supposed to happen.
So I think this goes into predictions for Beyond. It all rides on whether Miguel is telling the complete truth or not. Because the only person who has said that these canon events have to happen
is Miguel in the algorithm, Lila.
Right. And when...
By the way, very comic accurate. Continue.
When Miles says, how do we know? And Gwen, right before he sends her home, and she asks, how do we know? And all he says is, because I tried. And then she asks Jess, like, hey, back me up. And she says, I can't. It's like, well, maybe he's wrong. Or maybe he's trying to control things because of some trauma he has. So maybe it is possible that things are different, especially because Miles is a new thing that no one's experienced before. He's an anomaly. Maybe there are different rules now. Yeah, we just don't know.
Yep. But it absolutely affected Spider-Man India.
Yep.
What's your favorite song on the soundtrack? You haven't listened, so you can't give
Go ahead.
a take. Annihilation. When you hear it in the movie, it's when he leaves his mom. His mom ungrounds him for the night.
Yeah.
And he
that, yeah.
Woo, that and it's Sway Lee. My system. And
that one's really good.
like in the movie, I was like, that's Metro. I was like, there he is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
The Gwen theme and the 2099 theme, I know they're not songs, but they were both really cool.
How about this one? You would fuck Haley Steinfeld. That's just the statement.
That's the whole statement?
Would you? I suppose.
No comment.
Yeah. Who had the better arc? Gwen or Miles? Gwen. Gwen's arc is completed. Miles' arc isn't completed.
Yeah,
he doesn't get the resolution with his family, which I love that he tells her.
In the wrong universe?
And it's the wrong universe, which means he's going to tell her in the right universe, but it's like, but maybe not. I just think it's beautiful. Now, my thing, if we're talking about predictions, for sure he's going to solve some issues in that universe he's currently in, because that's just Miles. That's Spider-Man. Miles isn't going to leave that universe untapped.
Right.
He's going to convince that Miles to be a good guy. He's going to do something. Something about that universe is going to be changed. Better look, Miles with braids or without braids?
I think both of the hairstyles fit the character that he was supposed to be.
I found it jarring. I was like I was like shocked.
Like it fit that universe's Miles.
How did Alex feel about Webslinger, the horse Spider-Man? The best.
I'm so glad you made it in the movie.
Literally the highlight of the movie for me. Why is the horse got a mask to conceal his face? By the way, that sounds like Nick Cage. I don't think it is, but it sounds a lot like him.
That's another thing I missed, and I'm very excited for. And beyond, we get Spider-Ham and Nor back. That's really good. We get Penny for like half a second, but it doesn't really count. And also that line, he's like, "We'll draw on 3," and he just hits him. He's like, "You didn't wait for 3."
It's so good. And he's riding Spider-Horse. It's so good.
Last one.
This one is how tall is Haley Steinfeld? She looked taller than you.
I think she was
wearing heels.
Yeah, she was wearing heels. I think she's about my height. So,
dude, a lot of these are Spider Horse questions. Metro Boomin had a cameo? I didn't know that. He's the one that says you have no way out. For sure. You remember when he's like, you've got no way out? And then he jumps out the window? Yeah. That's for sure Metro. Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. All right.
I want to end off on something.
Okay.
I turned to you in the middle of this movie. By the way, this is my most Spider-Verse hat I had. Sorry. I turned to you in the middle of this movie, and I was like, hey, I'm going home.
Yeah.
And you were like, your reaction made me think that the way I said it, you thought I was like quitting the podcast, moving home, whatever. I don't know if that's how you felt, but that's not what I meant at all. I'm just going to go home at some point this week because I want to see this movie with my family. I like can't wait to see this movie in Miami, like with the people I love the most. Like I can't wait to see this with my mother, who has let her little boy go to halfway across the country to follow his dreams, to do things that make him happy. I am so excited to watch this movie with my brother, who is adopted, who, despite our best efforts and whatever, he's always at some point going to feel in some way like an anomaly. And that's not my control or anybody's control. That's just how it is. Thank you to this movie for giving him a superhero. I can't wait to see this with my abuelita, who has not seen a superhero movie since probably the MCU started. I definitely saw the early Spider-Man movies with her. She doesn't speak English. There's for sure going to be some Spanish-speaking screenings for this movie in Miami. I can't wait to see one of those with my grandmother because I can't wait. Every line that Miles' family says was straight out of her mouth. It's finally a representation of her family that she started. So I cannot wait to see this with my abuelita. I can't wait to see this with my best friends who back home I miss so much that are back home that like, you know, no matter what, if I'm in California and they're in Miami, or I'm on Earth 19999 and they're on Earth 42, no matter the distance, I always got you. You're always my family. And I can't wait to see this with my girlfriend, Rachel, who, like, I've shown her everything. She had never seen a Star Wars movie before dating me, a Marvel movie, a DC movie, nothing. She had, and I've gotten such satisfaction after showing her these movies and her absolutely falling in love with these universes that I've been in love with my whole life. I'm so excited to be able to show her a movie that is better than literally everything I've showed her to this date in theaters. So I'm so grateful to everybody that made this movie because it's a masterpiece and it means so much to me. And I can't imagine how much this movie is going to mean to the people with a relationship with their father, whether good or bad. Obviously, it's a different experience for me to watch it, but this movie means so much to me, make $1 billion.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so many people to thank.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're very happy this movie exists. I mean, we waited a long time for it, and it delivered and everything. When I was watching it, I went to the world premiere, and then
You lucky son of a bitch.
we got to go see another early screening.
Yes.
With the Q&A with the director, and I was sitting there when it was like the credits, or like when the director was talking, and like I just stopped listening because I was like, Spider-Man has meant a lot, through my life. Like, I'm known for this because I wore this for years before I ever filmed a video in it. And I was just sitting there, and I was sitting next to you. I was so happy you were there, and I was listening to the director. I was like, look at what I'm getting to do. Finally, I've made videos for coming up on a decade, and it was the vast majority of that was not easy or necessarily fun. And I was sitting in that theater watching it, and I was like, I get to go home tomorrow and just like talk about this, and people are going to enjoy that, and I get to share this with you, and so it was just a nice moment. So thank you to everyone who's watching, and thank you to all my friends and family who put up with a bunch of bullcrap that I've done, and thank you to everyone involved in this movie. I've really enjoyed this past week, and we're very busy. I'm very stressed, and I've got a lot going on. But I'm enjoying it. I'm very happy. So thank you to everyone who made the movie. I know there are a lot of people involved, and just thank you to everyone watching, and I'm very happy.
I love you, buddy.
I love you too.
I'm proud of you.
Come here.
To Spider-Verse.